Magnus is all grown up. Why would you know that? How would you know this was supposed to be like our meeting place? How could I not be thinking of Yumil at this point? I guess Yumil did always want peace until he went kinda crazy. Later. An interesting thing about this game is if you actually have a very low chaos frame and you don't end up recruiting any of the Zenobians, then there's actually another battle after killing Danica where you get like ambushed by them. Well, it looks like the text is going automatically now. But there's another battle after Mount Cariolith where the Zenobians will actually ambush you and you have to kill them all. Obviously, I have a very high chaos frame and I recruited all of the Zenobians, so that won't be happening, but that is certainly something that is capable of happening. Although, honestly, it's kind of hard not to get at least some Zenobians, so unless you know that that ending exists and you're actively pursuing it, you're not likely to stumble upon it. But it can happen. Well, that's a pretty lofty question. Seems kind of like you're dodging the question here, Dustin. So this is the best ending if you have a high chaos frame. I believe it doesn't really matter what characters you have recruited. Like the characters you recruited, I don't think they affect the ending at all. But for every character that you've recruited, it kind of changes what exactly. Like you get extra scenes. It doesn't change what happens. It just gives you extra scenes. Namely Magnus? That's an odd thing to say. Gunther Piedmont, hurry up, Troy. Hey, you guys aren't like berserkers and clerics and phalanxes anymore? Alright, this is all going on autopilot still. So what, I guess Troy and Katrina hook up? Lytle and Meridia? I guess they return to serve. Really. The Zenobians are just obsessed with the Bulmacans. Wait, what? What's Europia doing here? Who is he? It's kind of strange that Frederick would die in the good ending. I mean, I guess it's the good ending because Magnus ends up becoming king, but it just seems kind of odd. Like in the worst ending, Frederick gets coronated and Magnus gets like turned away at the gates because you're all like chaotic and no one likes you. And the middle ending, Frederick gets coronated and Magnus is just recognized as like a hero. That seems like the better ending to me. I don't know why. I mean, everyone is supposed to love Frederick, so why would he die in the good ending? Prince Anus Gallant, huh? Gallant. Anus Gallant. So, who's the mother? It's kind of sad. They put so much, like there's seems to like there's a lot of almost like setup. Like there's like they're trying to set it up for like a sequel, and it just didn't happen. I'm not sure why. You really have to have such a screwed up background for the final credits? And that's disappointing. But anyways, I guess this is the part where I talk about my thoughts on the game. Needless to say, you know, Ogre Battle 64 is one of those games that I've just always loved. It's just a great game, and I really enjoy playing it. But it's kind of odd because it's it's a game that if you were to just hear about it, it doesn't sound like a game that you would really enjoy all that much. I mean, you tell a bunch of units where to go on the map, and then they fight, like, automatically. You don't tell them how to fight. They just do their own thing, and you just tell them where to go. That doesn't sound fun. But it ends up being really fun. For me, anyways. I mean, and hopefully for everyone watching. And I think for me what it is it just strikes that nerve where, because you have all this customization, and it's very similar to Final Fantasy Tactics for me. It's like there's like 1,000,001 different unit combinations you can go with, and you just have all these options and you can just run with it. And in that respect, it's even more so than Final Fantasy Tactics, because you have a giant army of like 50 plus people. I mean, it doesn't make much sense to go above 50 because you can only have 10 active units, but still. So I mean, there's just so many different ways you can design your units, and I mean, obviously I had very specific ways of doing it in mind, but I mean, you can do it a million different ways and it can all work. So I mean, there's just something about this game that is just really enjoyable. Like, the customization is great, the theme and story behind the game is interesting enough to keep you engaged. I feel like the translation could have been better. Like the premise comes across as a little bit weak, but I feel like if the dialogue was a little bit better done, then it could have been. It had the potential to be really good. The music is really epic. The graphics, when they're not bugging the hell out like this, is all pretty good. I mean, it's not like amazing, but for what it is, I mean, everything looks really sharp and good, and I think it does a good job of using the Nintendo 64 engine, because it makes everything look good and all that without having like the stupid like blocky polygons that most games have. The one thing I would say about this game is, looking at it in retrospect, I don't know how well it does as a Let's Play, just because like 2/3 of the episodes were, hey look, I'm on this map again and I'm killing more guys. But at the end of the day, I had a really fun time in recording this game. It's a great game, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. And that is good enough. And apparently we get a gauntlet. Oh nice, we get a little post-mortem thing. We have a perfect chaos frame, 100 points, and 9,999 days of time. I honestly didn't expect to have a perfect chaos frame, but I guess it's a bit of a fickle thing. But anyways, that is the end of this LP series. At one point, I had planned a bonus episode, or contemplated at least a bonus episode, where I go through the game again and just go over like highlights, play through the game with like a low chaos frame and being all chaotic and getting all the characters that I couldn't get this time around. But I didn't really end up ever finding the time or motivation to do that. And at this point, because I'm going to be starting school soon, at least at the time of recording this, when I upload this, I probably would have been going to school for about a month already. But because of that, I'm probably not going to have the time. So, unfortunately, it's just not really a good use of my time to spend another like 40-50 hours playing through the game again for just a couple of bonus episodes. But you can look forward to my next main LP series, which should be starting tomorrow. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed Ogre Battle 64, and I leave you here.